Hey friends! I hope you're all having a good Friday. I was just about to make a batch of sauerkraut, and a lot of times I get questions about the fermented foods that we eat and the recipes, so I figured I would just share that with you so you have it. My sauerkraut recipe is super simple and super fast. We eat fermented foods just about every day. The reason being that we really try to keep a good balance of healthy gut bacteria, right? So we need good bacteria in our guts for a happy gut, and the things we do on a daily basis can throw them off. No matter how good we try to eat and be, we don't always eat perfectly. So things like processed foods and sugar and all those things that creep into our diets, they can really kind of throw off the balance of good and bad gut bacteria. And also some medications, if you ever have to take antibiotics, that's going to just tear up your good gut bacteria. So you really want to keep that balance, and gut health is really closely tied to overall body health and happiness, really. So 80% of your immune system is in your gut, right? It's a lot. And also, your gut produces the majority of serotonin in your body. And serotonin is that hormone that makes you happy. So we all want to be happy. Happy gut, happy brain, happy baby, happy person. That's why we eat a lot of fermented foods. And there's other things you can do too to help keep that balance of gut bacteria good. One of the things we also do is eat like a probiotic. You can take a probiotic. This is my favorite probiotic. It's the Life 9 from Young Living. So you can do that. But also, just eating real foods to create that balance is really good. So what we do, so you can buy some fermented foods in the store, right? And when you buy sauerkraut, you do not want to buy it from the inside of the grocery store where it's on the shelves, because that's dead. That doesn't have any real live cultures in it. You're going to want to buy it from the edges. So this is one that we actually do buy. This is a great brand, but it is expensive and it adds up. Kimchi is another fermented food we eat a lot of, and this brand is super yummy too. And you can make your own kimchi too. It's not hard. Same concept. But the sauerkraut and kimchi that you buy in the store, those add up. They can be expensive, so this is super easy. All this takes is 3 heads of organic cabbage. It's like $6 maybe. So you just, I have 1 head that has yet to be shredded. I have 1 head that I have shredded in here. I have not put it in yet. And then I have 1 head that I've already shredded and put into, I don't know if you can see that, my fermenting crock. So the other things you need other than your 3 heads of cabbage is going to be 3 tablespoons of sea salt, just a good high quality sea salt. And that's it, really. Salt and cabbage, and maybe some filtered water, and something to ferment it in, right? So I use this fermenting crock that I got from Williams-Sonoma because I had this really awesome Williams-Sonoma gift card. But you don't need to use something like this. They also have fermenting crocks on Amazon. I can put a link to some fermenting crocks that are good in the comments of this video. You can also use, ball jars and stuff like that. So if you have a bunch of ball jars on hand, you can use these too. So once you put your 1 head of shredded cabbage in here, you're going to add a tablespoon of sea salt. So you just put in your tablespoon of sea salt. And then you really just go to town crushing it up. So what you're trying to do is release the moisture and liquid from the cabbage. So the salt helps draw that out. And so you just want to really crush it, mix it up really good. And once you get this head all crushed up and the liquid's coming out of it, you're going to do the same thing with the next one. So then you just put the next head of cabbage in there that's shredded, another tablespoon of sea salt, do the same thing, shred up your last head, put it in, sea salt, do the same thing, and by that time you will have released a lot of liquid from the cabbage. So what you want to do is make sure that all of the cabbage is under the liquid, okay? So if you haven't released enough liquid and it's not covering all the cabbage in your crock, pack down the cabbage as best you can. If the liquid's not covering it, just add in a little bit of filtered water. And then you can take something to weigh it down, because you want to keep that cabbage under the water while it ferments, under the liquid. So I use these little stones that came with this crock. They're perfect. Obviously they fit in there perfectly and weight everything down. You could also use rocks or anything that's clean. And just a note on cleanliness, you don't need to sterilize the things you're working with when you're fermenting foods. It's not like canning, where you have to make everything sterile and boil everything. You just want to wash stuff and make sure it's clean, but it doesn't need to be sterilized, because we're actually counting on the bacteria that is naturally occurring on these things to ferment. This is called a wild ferment. We're not adding any culture or anything like that. We're just letting the natural bacterias ferment and create that sauerkraut for us. So you weight it down, and then you're going to cover it up. This fermenting crock has this cute little lid. Put that on there, and then there's this reservoir in here, and you fill this up with filtered water. And that creates a seal so that no bad bacteria can get in. And so when you have that seal, it still allows some gases to escape, because the fermentation process will create oxygen, bubbles will bubble up, and you'll be standing in the kitchen and you'll hear a little gurgle. You might think someone farted, but they didn't. It's just your fermenting crock. And that is really it. So you let it go for about 2 weeks. Don't touch it. You put it on a kitchen counter. However hot or cold your kitchen is going to impact how long it takes to ferment. Temperature is a big factor in fermentation. So if it's really cold in your kitchen, it's going to take a little bit longer. If it's really warm, it'll go a little bit faster. I typically set mine right next to the refrigerator, and I don't touch it for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, I open it up. I'll taste a little bit of the sauerkraut and see if it's to my liking, if it's sour enough. And if it's not, I'll just put the lid back on and let it keep going. I know some people like it really, really tart, really, really sour, and they'll let it go for 2, 3, 4 weeks. I find mine's usually ready around 2 weeks for me. And when it's done, I take it out of the fermenting crock and I just pack it into my ball jars then. So I put it into all sorts of jars like this and put it in the refrigerator. And putting it in the refrigerator stops the fermentation process. It will last in your refrigerator for a really long time. This 3 heads of cabbage is going to last us about probably well over a month, absolutely, with just 2 of us eating it for sure. So it's a lot more economical than buying our sauerkraut at the store, which is easy rhythm to fall into. And honestly, I've had these 3 cabbages in my refrigerator for weeks. And that's the great thing about cabbage, is it stays in the refrigerator for a really long time. So finally pulled them out. We're going to have some of our own sauerkraut in a couple weeks. So I hope that you all will try to make some of your own fermented foods and have happy bellies. And have a great weekend. Bye.